let's imagine what it would be like to wake up one day and have absolutely no feeling from your neck to your toes. Nothing. Please open your eyes. That exact scenario happened to me at the age of 22. And I'm here to tell you today that experience changed my life forever. As you can see, with the big giant fuzzy boots, I have full mobility back again today, and these boots represent this great earth that we have walked on. And while I went through rehabilitation, like I said, paralyzation from the neck down, I had to learn to walk again. I had to learn to eat again. I had to learn to do everything that you could imagine having to do again. And I had lots of time to think. Time and thinking. What are you going to do with your life? I was 22 years old. And I made many vows and I made many promises to myself as every day I learned to walk again. Every day I learned to pick up a fork again. I made a vow. And my first vow was that I was going to walk again. And as you can see, I am walking. My second vow was that I was going to walk this great earth and I was going to do it in a big way. And the third thing that I was going to do is that, as my grandfather said, I could always sleep when I was done. I would never not accept an invitation because I was tired. I understood the gift of time as I laid flat and I realized how important time was. So let's fast forward. Let's fast forward to 2012. I had just started my business, a consulting firm. I had left the high-paying job. I decided, you know what, I can do this. I'm going to start my own firm. And then, bam! All of a sudden, out of nowhere, I've been single my entire life. And I meet the love of my life, and guess what? He too had a passion. And his passion was for travel and for scuba diving. And you know what? I'm a scuba diver. He was pretty impressed with the fact that I was a diver as well before I met him. It was a passion that I had before. Water was such a big part of my rehabilitation that it meant a lot. So here we were, having these conversations. He had just popped the question, let's go ahead and get married. But as we all do, we have these conversations about work-life balance. What is it that we're going to do with our lives? We are at that point, we're 40-something-year-olds, and we're not going to have children, but what are we going to do? We both were working a lot. He is a pharmacist still, and I was still doing a lot as well. So we ended up getting married on the beach in Mexico, very apropos. And as we're sitting on the beach in the big cabana with the giant little cocktails, with the little umbrellas, we say the thing that all people say. And that is, let's just sell everything and let's just go travel the world. That sounds great, doesn't it? You know what, we have nothing, we have jobs, we've worked tons, but you know what? We did it. We're that couple that did it. We sold it all. And before we did that, we created a plan. And that plan was a budget, very important budget. We spent combined, averaged $100 a day for this trip. We had a budget. We set a date. When you set a date, everything happens, and it happens a heck of a lot faster than you could have ever imagined it to happen. So, we had a budget, we had a date, we kind of had a general idea. Oh, did I mention I had started this firm not that long ago, and I was gaining momentum with my clients. So we thought, let's just do one thing at a time. Let's just start the decluttering process. We needed to get rid of everything. We had made a conscious decision to sell everything. We had a rental property, we had a house, we had all the fancy stuff that one would have that accumulates by the time you get to the age of 40. So off we went. Our date that we were going to launch was Bastille Day 2014. So thus began the process. Selling, Craigslist, eBay, you name it, any way in which we could let things go. We let those things go, and our freedom started to come upon us. And what we realized is we didn't need a lot of things to make us happy. And the other thing that we realized was that as part of the journey, we made a deal really early on, that anything you wanted to have with you on this trip, that if you wanted it, you had to carry it. Okay, ladies, we all know. Okay, I will admit this, when I started off, I had 8 pairs of shoes. 8! Because I was ready for anything. I was ready for a ball gown, okay, a fair. This is what you're looking at is the ball gown. But I was ready for it, and I had little shoes, I had big shoes, I had 8 pairs of shoes. I had a front pack and I had a backpack. And the hubby kept saying, you buy it, you carry it. So I had a 67-pound backpack. I had a front pack and I had a backpack. So this is my front pack. All right? This is what had everything that I could not lose on this trip. The backpack had clothes, it had things that really didn't matter. We looked at it, this was the lifeblood of what this journey looked like. And so I'm going to toss this around, and I want you guys to think about it. What does your life look like when it comes to a backpack? What are you going to put in it? Well, kind of take a look at it, you get a feel for it. So really what we boiled down to is we realized a couple things need to happen. The date happened, everything's sold, and now we're getting ready to go. We had the backpacks. I'm a non-backpacker. Okay? I was the person on airplanes who hated people, who constantly knocked people over, and I was determined to make sure that I wasn't that person. You're smiling because you know who you are. So, had the backpack. I had my travel buddy. I had my husband. Remember, we're newlyweds. We're a year into this gig, and now we're going to be spending 24 hours together. Okay? 24/7, no escaping. But we knew that was something that we wanted to do. So in addition to that, we knew we had this budget, but we also wanted to really engage in the cultural experience of this trip. So we started finding and investigating ways in which we could make this trip happen. We started to house sit for people who were taking vacations, and not just house sitting where you're going and watching a little kitty cat or something like that. We took it full on. We did bed and breakfast. Okay? I used to think I was going to own a bed and breakfast in Vermont, just like the Bob Newhart show. That was me. I was going to own a bed and breakfast. 3 bed and breakfast house sits leader. I love them all, and I commend anyone who runs a bed and breakfast and was given the opportunity to learn without putting out the expense, only the time. So just another example. So we have the backpack, we have the hubby, the travel partner, we have some things that we're gonna do, and oh yeah, that business thing again came up. So you know what I decided? I decided I'm gonna bring along my clients, because that's what you do when you take a dream and you have a dream. I'll never forget walking into my biggest client's office. And I remember walking in and I sat down on the conference room table, and he comes walking in, and I will never forget this ginormous smile he had on his face. He was so excited to see me, and I was so scared to death that he didn't know what he was going to do. We had spent the last 2 years creating the strategic plan. We've been working with his presentation teams. We had transition, we had succession planning. We had all of these things going together, and I started sharing with him our dream. And that dream was to go travel the earth. And all of a sudden that smile went to, oh no way, she's so leaving. And he says to me, Rachel, I was just getting used to you being around. And I said, you know what? I'm still going to be around. want to take you with me on this journey because I believe that technology can take you anywhere your heart desires. At first he was like, I'm not thinking, and then the conversation turned into, you know what? I think we can do this. I believe we can do this. And then it turned into, you know what? I think I can do this after you do it because I want you to do it first. Okay? I want you to tell me what went right and what maybe didn't go so well. And so we launched into the next phase of our client relationship. I started off, we went to Portugal, and we really had a great opportunity to do everything from Skyping to FaceTiming, and we used technology in the country that which it was in, that we were in, and we used it to our advantage. I made sure that my computer always stayed on Texas time. The burden of the time zone rested upon me, and thus that relationship continues today. My other client, I walked in, he was a rodeo client, and he wanted, I had done these rodeos for him time over the years, and I said to him, you know what, I think I can do this. And he's like, I'm not so sure. Well, bottom line is, I planned a rodeo while I was in Scotland, England, Belgium, and Argentina for 100 people and a $10,000 budget, and I used the power of networking. This hat represents networking at its best. I used the network that I had all around the world. I used consultants from all around the world, and I was able to pull off an event. I had boots on the ground in Fort Worth, Texas, who went the day of the event and made it happen for me. So now, let's close our eyes again, and let's put our hands on our knees. And let's imagine, what would our lives look like if we started doing what we really wanted to do today? Let's open our eyes. Thank you so much for having me here today. I want you to go and live your dream. Your life can change in the blink of an eye. And I'm here to tell you, go beyond, because your clients will follow you if they believe in your dream as much as you do. I'm Rachel Marker. Thank you for having me here today. As I like to say, cheers, ciao, and hasta